attention, please.
The first reaction is to an audio clip. It's an audio testimony regarding a toxic mom and a stepdad being toxic to the firstborn female child. This speaks to me as I am the eldest, and she's also a writer. I am also a writer. So this really spoke to me, and I figured that I would make this the first portion of the Rooted in Reality video. In the middle is going to be some dialogue, if any, and the last clip is a video clip of a female who is, no, correction, a woman. This is a woman rooted in reality, and not only rooted in reality, has the fortitude to go against the social norms and society and its nonsense. So salute to both of these women, and let's get to it.
When I was 3, I started writing songs, and my stepdad told my mom that I was the devil. So they used to lock me in my room and they would starve me, because my stepdad thought that he was going to starve out the demon in me. And it didn't starve out the demon in me. Actually, they took away everything out of the room. I didn't have anything, just a mattress on the floor. And what happened was I started writing more songs because I was so miserable and I was so hungry and I was thirsty, and it was torture because I could smell them eating food and I could hear them laughing in the other room. So it was really difficult for me. And I couldn't stop singing. It was like every time I would go outside, I would hear the birds, singing, and I would hear the wind blowing, and I would hear music, and music would come out of my chest, and it was just a part of me that I couldn't stop, Even now, I'm always making songs up. Seriously, you could just random stuff. I'll just start randomly coming up with songs just out of the blue, and I do it every day. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're sad. My daughter laughs when they're funny, and she pouts when they're sad, but it's just random songs just pop into my head.
Did you hear that? Even though she was part of a toxic mom tribe, she didn't repeat the same mistakes that her mom did. And the same is true for me. I didn't repeat a lot of the mistakes and dumb crap that my dad did.
For years, I always felt so bad, I had to hide my songs, right? It wasn't until about 5 or 6 years ago that I embraced that part of myself, because I felt why would God make me this way? You know what I mean? If I wasn't supposed to be a writer, or what I just felt I'm a writer. That's what I do, right? It's just a part of who I am. It's like breathing. It's like sleeping, And so they made me feel very ashamed of myself. So I felt like I always had to hide my songs, I think as a teenager, maybe boys used to hide their porn, and there I was hiding my list of songs under my bed. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And they did that to me until I was about 9 or 10, and then I finally learned to start hiding my stuff, and not to sing so loudly so they couldn't hear me, because I would get really into it. My first song was Mama's a Brute, and it was my mama is a brute, my mama is a brute, and that was my first song at 3. Actually, I think I was younger than that, because I think she was pregnant with my little brother, and that was my first song. I was a little headbanger, So, anyways, because I did that, and because I was like really into it, and I was there, head banging. My mama is a brute. My mama is a brute. And they were like, "Oh, she's possessed. She's the devil." No, I wasn't. I was expressing myself through music.
I want real friends. They just want yes men. Okay? If I can't keep it real with you, we cannot be friends. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear because you want to hear it. I'm going to tell you what's right. And I'm not going to tell you that you're right when you know that you're wrong. Like, people will surround themselves by folks who will watch you, support you, and even help you in self-destructive behaviors and mindsets, and then will call themselves your friend. That is not a friend. That's not even a good associate. That's a turn up buddy. That's a toxic tango. That's everything but a friend. Absolutely.
If the men around you have to play down their power, play down their intelligence, play down how competent they are in order for you to feel as though you deserve to be in their spaces, you're not powerful. You're not as empowered and powerful as you've been made to believe. If in order for you to feel as though you have power in place, you need your girlfriends to gas your head and fill your head full of hot air by telling you things like, "Oh my God, you're such a boss, babe. You're so powerful. You're so great. You're doing so good, mama." All of this stuff. You don't really have power, right? And I think that this is the case for a lot of women. I think a lot of women are addicted to the dopamine kick, the oxytocin dopamine chemical cocktail in the brain. They like to feel as though they have power. They like to feel as though they are a part of decision making. They like to feel as though they are substantial within power structures. But I don't think most women are prepared to sit with the very true reality that a lot of women only get to feel as though they are powerful because the men around them are being generous. Like, the men around them are being kind. The men around them are saying, "You know what? We actually have power, so we don't need to prove a point. We can kind of just like take a step back and allow these girls to feel like they're important here. We can actually take a step back and allow these women to feel like they actually have power in place." And I think it's sick the way that the modern feminist movement has convinced a lot of women to sort of live in this la la land, to sort of coddle them and tell them, "You're just as powerful as men, and you're just as capable, and you're just as competent." Like kissing the boo-boos of a child after they've fallen and scraped their knees. I don't think a lot of women genuinely want power. I think they want to feel as though they have it. And that feeling as though they have it is enough to coast on, right? If you don't validate a woman's perception of being powerful, they don't actually respond by going and getting true power. They respond by crying, by calling you a misogynist or a pick-me, and then they'll go and rally their network of other women who are in the same position where they coddle themselves and tell themselves in their brain, "You have power, you have power, you have power." But in reality, you don't. And these are the women who will get down in their comment section and tell them how great they're doing and tell them how powerful that they are and quell their worries, right? I think men notice this as well. I think men also see this and they recognize that it's kind of pitiful, but they don't say anything because it's really not very beneficial to say anything. If they do, these women would riot, right? They would have the biggest temper tantrum. I think for the men who recognize that this is true, that a lot of the girl bosses aren't actually bosses of anything. They just like the feeling of girl bossing, right? If you were to shatter that reality, the outcome would not be good for men. Like, men can't. The same women who want to thrash the patriarchy use the patriarchy to sort of force upon others their significance and that they have significance. When in reality, they're just as average and just as normal and just as plain and unspecial as everybody else. But you can't say that if you're a man. You'll get in big trouble. I actually would like to see women having genuine power and use that power responsibly, but I don't think a lot of women are equipped for it. Because a lot of women can't handle it, actually. I don't fall in line with the whole girls girl movement because I understand that it is predominantly, it's not truly an empowering kind of movement that empowers women to master themselves, to excel, to be truly competent and truly good at what they do. It's more a movement that is like performing power in place. And if more of us do it, the more we can gaslight and convince ourselves that it's true. The men around you who are being so kind as to allow you to feel as though you're in control could at any time stop, but for what reason? It would not pan out good for them. So of course they keep quiet about it and, let you sort of continue to feel as though you actually have power in place within this patriarchal structure that we live. And I'm not advocating for a gynocracy. I don't think that necessarily will solve this issue either. Because when women have outsized power, certain women have outsized power, they become tyrants. They struggle with being fair and objective, because women suffer from this perfectionist fallacy that if you just do things my way, we'll fix everything and just everything will be perfect if women were just in charge and women could control everything. Most women today can't even control keeping their legs closed or not getting their time wasted by a guy who's a bum. They tend to fall for trickery. And that's because women like the feeling of feeling good. They like the feeling of being told that they're doing great. They like to be reinforced emotionally and don't really like to stand firm in reality, which is harsh. I think the modern feminist movement has been hijacked by girls cosplaying as adult women who want to deconstruct patriarchy, not because they can offer something better like a matriarchy or a gynocracy, but so that under this sort of woman-led system, they can absolve themselves of responsibility. This is why we see so many like feminist socialists, like they want this society where everything is communal. And, you know, if they had it their way, we would all live in some sort of like fairy-like commune where we share everything, right? Like some sort of hippie gay society that they have in mind. That's like their fantasy utopian society. No one has to work. No one has any responsibility. Everything is just cookies and gumdrops. A lot of these women live inside of that fantasy. And if they had it their way, they would attempt to make that fantasy real. And if you don't fall in line with keeping that fantasy alive, you would be unalived. Absolutely. Absolutely. Quickly. I genuinely believe that if women were allowed to create this kind of psychotic, scary, pagan society, if you wouldn't fall in line with it and help them keep up this illusion of this perfect utopian peaceful sort of reality, you would be dead, thrown off a cliff, beheaded or something like that. Women do not like living in reality. They struggle with it. It is hard for them. And that is why I think the modern feminist movement is such a farce. It teaches women to kind of be complacent in the fact that they live in a lie. Men could never say this. Men could never tell women the truth because they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle the fact that the patriarchy allots them this freedom, this perception of power, same patriarchy that they want to dismantle. Anyway, that's just my little food for thought. Do with this information what you will. I expect a lot of these women are going to come for me and I'm prepared for it. But yeah, I'm not a girl's girl and I'm not a feminist either. And that's because I'm firmly rooted in reality. I don't want people to tell me that I'm a girl boss. I don't want people to tell me, oh my gosh, you're doing great, sweetie. Like, I'm not a child. Don't talk to me like that. Don't condescend me and speak to me as though I need you to shield me from the world and protect me from reality. I'm an adult, right? And that's the ticket. A lot of these women are not actually competent adults who can sit with the fact that life is hard, that being alive in this world is hard. We'll likely never live in a society where, you know, we're all just sort of flying around, having a great time. Sex is free, food is free, money is free, housing is free. Everyone is just holding hands, kumbaya, loving each other. Like that's make-believe. That's what kids believe. That's what kids think. And it's really telling whenever I come across grown adult women who act and feel like that's a kind of society that we can achieve, this perfect utopian society, this sort of pagan society. Yeah, no thanks. I'll be over here with the women who are standing in truth and are firmly rooted in reality and who see this modern feminist movement for what it is. It's a happy pill for women who can't cope with how harsh life is.